We all have rules for how we navigate life. Some of us document them, some of us don't. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 14 non-negotiable rules that I've used to run my business and my life. And if they serve you, great. You can adopt whichever ones you like. And if not, that's totally cool as well. But I want to give you a little bit of an insight into kind of how I've made my way through life. And you might say, well, why would I care about listening to the way your mind works, Yuri? Well, I have a saying which is, don't copy what successful people do, model how they think. So why would you want to model how I think? Well, I think I've had a pretty successful life. Everything I've done at the highest possible level. So I graduated summa cum laude. I played professional soccer. I'm always the captain of the team. I've built and sold a previous 7-figure business, New York Times bestselling author. Healthpreneur is an 8-figure business. We've helped thousands of people. I have a very healthy relationship with my wife and my kids. I'm in good health. I'm fit. I think I've done pretty well in a lot of different areas of my life. Again, no one's perfect, but I'm very pleased with my journey. So if I can share anything here that's going to be useful for you, awesome. Now, I wish I had maybe stuck or at least identified some of these rules early on, and I think it would have given me permission to just be more of who I truly knew who I always have been. And I think part of what I want to share with you here is just giving yourself permission to be just very clear about what you stand for, what you stand against. Because there's one thing that I think people appreciate more than anything is just clarity, right? Like no one, like if you believe something, people just want to know that you believe it. It's really weird to like, what is this person really like? I don't even know their agenda. Like don't have an agenda. Just be very clear with the agenda, right? If you want to sell somebody something, tell them, hey, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to sell you something, right? Like people appreciate that type of clarity. So what I want to share with you are 14 non-negotiable rules that have served me pretty well. So hopefully it gives you better clarity on how maybe you show up in life as well. So I'm gonna group about, I'm looking at my computer here where I have this written down. 6 of them are very similar. They're all about how I relate to people. So I'm gonna just breeze through, I'm gonna kind of bring those together and I'm gonna explain those. So let me read these out one by one. Number 1, I don't hang around anyone who wants to pick my brain. Number 2, if you live in fear, please don't come near. Number 3 is I protect my energy ruthlessly. Small talk leaves me feeling more exhausted than running a marathon in tropical weather. 4, I don't hang around energy vampires, victims, or anyone who doesn't take 100% ownership for their life. 5, I run the opposite direction from anyone who lives their life hoping the lottery or retirement will save them from their miserable existence. And 6, I run with lions. I don't herd sheep. So those 6 more or less say very similar things about how I associate with other humans. I wouldn't say I'm a very extroverted person. I think the older I've gotten, the more introverted I've become. I think part of it is because I'm more attuned to my own energy and the energy of other people around me. And I'm not I don't go out every week in big circles of friends. I don't go to wedding showers and birthday parties and all that kind of stuff all the time. In fact, when I hear other people talk about the fact that they have engagement parties and weddings to go to on a weekly basis, I'm like, what a fucking nightmare in my head. Now, obviously, with that means I have less social interaction with people in my life. I don't have huge circles of friends, and I'm totally okay with that because the reality is I'm interacting and speaking with people that I'm serving every single day in our business. I mean, like the last thing I want to do at night is even talk because most of the day I spend talking and socializing with team members and clients. So the last thing I want to do is hanging around the wrong people in general outside of that because I need my time. I want to literally just hang out in my backyard and stare at the sky. That really energizes me. If I am hosting a live event for a couple days, I love it. It's amazing. We bring all of our clients together, or if I'm at a mastermind of other really awesome, big thinking people, it's so much fun. But after those couple days, I need to retreat into my cave and recharge by myself. So that's me. Now, because of that, I am very, very, very picky about who I spend time with. I don't associate with anyone I went to school with, barring 2 people. And I see them maybe once or twice a year, right? We had some good times in the past, but the reality is we just took different growth paths, right? And some people are, there for a season and other people are there for a reason and it's all good, right? There's nothing against those friends I had in the past. And I truly appreciated the moments and the years we spent together, but it's just like you grow and you evolve, right? So it's not that I'm better than anyone. It's just if I'm going to hang around people, I want to hang around people who are on my wavelength or further ahead from me. So what that looks like is I spend a lot of time by myself, right? I've got 4 kids. I work at home. I spend a lot of time with my family. And I spend a lot of time with my team. and a lot of time with my clients because I love the work that I do. And I want to be around people who have big goals in life, who are ambitious, who don't live in fear, who are willing to say, I want this goal, this objective, and I'm going to use courage to move forward. And I want to be around people and support them in that endeavor, as opposed to listening to people about how they can't leave their 9-to-5 job because they might lose their pension in 40 years. I can't associate with that stuff. So energy vampires, victims, like people who blame the government and blame this and blame that for their lack of progress in life. I have zero tolerance and zero time for these conversations. I completely understand, and I'm not judging where people are at, right? Like even during COVID, right? If someone got vaccinated or not vaccinated, it doesn't matter to me, right? But I know for myself, I'm not going to hang around certain people based on the choices they make in life, right? So if someone has really, really bad lifestyle choices and their house is a mess, actually, this leads me to another rule here. So this is a little bit different, but I'll just kind of segue into this. So I have zero tolerance for anyone who doesn't respect themselves, others, or the environment around them. For instance, throwing garbage out of a car window tells me all I need to know about who you are as a person. This is a true story. I was driving onto the highway, merging onto the highway, and this guy drives by at like 120 kilometers an hour and throws a coffee cup from Starbucks full of coffee right out the window. Like he's driving here and he throws it out the passenger window, not even the driver's side, across his own car out the window. Not to me, but just in general. He's throwing it out the car. I'm like, man, you're sick in the fucking head. How do you even do that? Plus, what if a car drove by and that coffee hit the windshield, right? I mean, like, are you crazy? So I don't need much more than that little scenario to know that I'm never going to associate with that person. And again, that might seem very black and white, and it is what it is. So I don't care if someone makes choices in their life. Like they can do whatever they want, right? They can vote for whoever they want. They can get jabbed or not jabbed. They can throw coffee out of the car if they want to. They can live like a slob. That's cool. They can do whatever they want. But I don't need to hang out with them. That's the difference. I'm saying, well, that's not my cup of tea. I want nothing to do with that. Like you do you, cool, awesome, enjoy that, but we're not going to be friends. We're not going to be hanging out much. It's not that I'm too cool for school. It's just I understand what I value in life, and what's going on over there is not part of my thing over here. And that's also one of the reasons why, even in a world where everyone's trying to be so politically correct and vanilla and inclusive and whatever, we're never going to get there. All it's going to create is even more polarity, right? So as we've had this huge 100 and some odd genders accepted bullshit, you have this huge pendulum swing to the other side, which is very masculine. And some people call it toxic masculinity, whereas guys are just like, hey man, this is what it's like to be a man. And some people agree with that and some people don't. And that's why this earth, that's why this planet, that's why this journey is so amazing. And that's why I'm sharing these with you here, is because when you are clear about your philosophy, you can live your life cleanly. So I know that I'm going to associate with one side more than the other. And it is what it is. It's not, and here's the thing though, it's not to say that I'm not tolerant or accepting of other options. I just want nothing to do with them. And for me, that's okay. I mean, I respect myself. I think I do. I mean, my house is clean. My office is clean. My car looks like it's just come off the lot all the time. I remember getting into someone's car once and it was disgusting. Like I felt like I had to get out of the car, and I would have been better off taking the public bus. It was receipts and garbage all over the floor. And in that moment, I'm sitting in that car and I'm like, I cannot associate with people like this, because it's a standard, and that standard is not how I see myself living. Many years ago, I was flying back from New York, and I was actually at a mastermind, and I ended up running into my coach at the time, who was Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach. We're on the same flight back to Toronto from New York, so it's an hour flight. I typically didn't fly business class at this time, and I asked him, I'm like, so you fly business class for a 1 hour flight? And he said, yeah, because it's about the standards. And I was like, man, I never thought of it that way. This is back in 2014, 2015. And it started to get me thinking, but there are people on this planet who just operate at a different level. And it's not that they're better than anyone else. It's just that they have a bigger vision for themselves than how most people live. I've always believed to some degree, especially as I've evolved over the years, is I don't consider myself like most people. I was actually on a podcast yesterday, and the host was asking, what does it mean to you to live an unconventional life? And my answer was immediate. I said, doing the exact opposite of what most people do. So if most people go away for March break or spring break, I'm staying put in my house. As soon as they come back, I leave. If everyone is going out to the Christmas Day parade, I want nothing to do with that. And I basically don't enjoy crowds. I don't like being around swarms of people. And that's just, I don't know. I mean, that's just the way I live my life now, right? So, and I think that's changed and evolved as I've gotten older. Whereas when I was a lot younger, obviously, being in crowds and parties was a little bit of a thing. Anyways, part of this too is like when you look at how this translates into a company, our company culture at Healthpreneur, I think is very special. And part of that, we're 100% remote. We've got an amazing team around the world, and we've built a culture that, to be honest, I've taken for granted until I start seeing how other companies that also work remotely, what their cultures are like or lack thereof. And I think part of it is we have amazing people, but amazing people are attracted to a specific type of message. So when we are hiring people, we are very clear, not just about the job, but about the culture. And recently we had someone, this was hilarious. We asked for a couple basic things like submit a video cover letter, what's the secret code, which is in the job description. And it was like, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. And I'm like, nice answers, cool. And then I happened to notice that this person had submitted a two-page thesis of why what we're doing is terrible, unethical, blah, blah, blah. And here's I love when people do this. They don't even include their own name. Like, wow, it's so easy to criticize and then hide behind, this person used the name of Lindsay Lohan from Mean Girls, whatever that character's name was, Regina something, I don't even know. I'm like, you can't even use your own name. This is what I'm talking about. Like these non-negotiable rules, like that type of I'm going to shit all over you, but I'm going to hide behind a suitor, like anonymity. I'm like, you're a fucking joke, right? So anyways, 2 pages, this person takes time to write a 2-page friggin' essay about our job description and our culture is toxic and we're expecting people to work like slaves and this and this and this. And she's like, I've got 2 psychology degrees. I'm like, you're a fucking basket case. And the reason that she wrote that's actually the first time we've ever had anyone write this in. And this is probably we've had thousands of applicants over the years, but that was a reminder of the fact that we're on the right path because it's toxic pieces of, that we want to repel at all costs. We don't have ping pong tables and comfy couches and benefits and whatever. And this is not 9 to 5. If people have an issue with that, that's the fucking point. I don't want you working in our company if you're expecting that stuff. And for you to take all that time to write a 2-page essay about how our philosophy is not okay, I believe, I don't know. I mean, you say what you want to say, but it's not going to change anything. I'm not going to get hey guys, this one person, oh man, they really gave it to us. I think we should change everything we stand for. No, that's the point of these rules is you draw a line in the sand. Here's what I stand for. Here's what I don't stand for. If you don't want to be on this side of the line, cool. Stay on your side. We don't need to hire you. No one's putting a gun to your head saying you have to apply. You took the time out of your own fucking life to write a 2-page essay to try to prove yourself right. Meanwhile, this is useless. And on the flip side of that, a couple days later, we get another applicant for the same position. And in the interview, because this person was normal, this individual was like, I read the job description and I was like, this is exactly me. This is me. This is the culture I identify with. And that's the whole point, is you are going to repel people and you are going to attract people. Your goal is not to please everyone. That is never going to happen. It's impossible. So when I share these non-negotiable rules, I understand that some people are like, well, can you explain that? And this is part of why I'm sharing this video, because a little while ago, I put this up on social and some people are like, I love all these rules. Or one person's like, hey, can you elaborate on what it means? When you say I don't hang around people who want to pick my brain, what do you mean? Can you elaborate on that? Here's what I mean by that. No one who has achieved anything in life is going to tell someone else, hey, can I pick your brain? Because they value time and they value wisdom. What they'll say is hey, can I take you out to lunch? Or can I pay for an hour of consulting with you? It's usually the bottom feeders of the world who are looking to suck the life out of those ahead of them. And they use words like pick my brain. Hey, I'd love to pick your brain. I'd love to pick your brain. This actually has happened to me. I can't tell you how many times. And I'm like, don't pick my brain. Okay. It's a disrespectful phrase in the first place. I understand you're so much further ahead of me with respect to, let's say, business or whatever. Can I pick your brain? The very fact that I have never uttered, I don't even think I've used those words in my life. If I see someone ahead of me, I'm thinking, how can I add value to that person's life as opposed to suck out of their brain, which is all extraction, withdrawal. And that's how you lose in life. And I can tell within the first 5 to 10 seconds of speaking with someone if I want anything to do with them for the rest of my life. And I know that sounds really cut and dry, but it's the truth. I can tell in their body language, I can tell in the words that come out of their mouth, because everything they're saying is a reflection of their mindset. And a lot of people don't have this shit dialed in. And I'm not saying that I do, but I've done a lot of work on it. And until you've done the work to get to a point where we're on the same page, it's probably not going to happen, right? And that's why I have a tremendous amount of respect for clients who pay me and my team money. Because instead of saying, can I pick your brain? They're saying, here's my money. I value your wisdom, experience, feedback, and I'm willing to make an exchange for that. Whereas everyone else who struggles are like, no, I'm going to get that for free. So that's just me, okay? So that's a bit of an explanation around that. Okay, moving on. I don't use pronouns when referring to one person. Just to be clear, the 100 and some odd different genders that now exist, okay, we'll just leave it at that, okay? So if you're a man, I'm going to refer to you as him or he. And if you want me to refer to you as they, that's fine. I'll do that. But I'm not going to assume that I'm going to refer to you as a they. That's what I mean by that. All right, I don't even know where I am. Number 7, 8, 11, whatever. We're just going to keep it going. I make time for myself before anyone else, including my wife and kids, because if I don't fill up my cup, I'm useless for others. This is something I've been very, very clear about from as early as I can remember. I have selfishly pursued my goals. I've selfishly put myself first, but I've always done so in the service of other people. The fact that I get up early in the morning and do my own work is part of how I fill up my own cup. If I wake up and my kids are awake, if I wake up late and I'm responding to life or reacting, it's not a good day. If I'm more proactive, if I wake up early and I work on me and my work, I feel a lot better because now I've filled up my cup. Whatever happens for the rest of the day is cool, right? I think a lot of women, my parents divorced when I was young, so I was raised by my mom, and I just, saw her sacrifice so much. I'm like, even with my wife, so many women, mothers especially, just get shit on. I'm a big advocate for women. Stand in your power, put yourself first, let the kids make their fucking lunch, let them tie their own shoes. They'll be fine, right? Because people treat you the way you train them to treat you. And so it's not that I don't care about anyone else. I care a lot. My whole mission on this planet is contribution. Everything I do is to help others. And that's always been the way it's been. But I can't get there if I act as a martyr in the service of others. I have to take care of myself. I have to prioritize my own health, my own fitness, my own deep work before reacting to the world around me. And so that's what I mean by that. What's next? I will go to the depths of the earth for those who stand by my side and devote themselves to our mission. So you can ask anyone on my team who's been around for a number of years. They'll tell you, yep, that's the truth. There are many situations where I've had conversations with people on my team. I'm like, hey, where do you want to be in a couple of years? They're like, here. I'm like, cool. I promise we'll make it happen. And looking back on those conversations, they're so much further ahead than what they had stated early on. And there was no contract, right? It was a conversation, and I gave them my word. I said, you continue showing up. You continue adding value in the way that you are. I promise you, I will go to the core of the earth to help you achieve your goals. And that's really important to me because this leads me to my next point is my handshake or my word is as good as a legal contract. I'm actually really appalled by a lot of humans in the sense that there are a lot of adults who are babies in adult clothing. I call this ABS, adult baby syndrome. They don't keep their word. They have no integrity. They don't even acknowledge a commitment they've made or a legal contract they've signed. And they try to weasel their way out of it. And the way I approach that now is like, cool, awesome. Karma will get you. Karma will repay whatever you're dealing with. I'm not going to worry about it. And I share this because when you're in a coaching relationship with people, the reality is the contract they sign is not like signing a contract with the bank for their mortgage. So when push comes to shove, the bank's not going to do anything for them. They'll break a contract with a coaching business if that's easier. And that happens, right? It happens. In the past, we used to go with collection agencies, and I'm like, we did that for a couple months, and it was a waste of time. I'm like, energetically, I don't even want to be associated with that. So thankfully, that doesn't happen too much, but it has in the past a few times. And in those cases, we've just taken the higher route. We said, listen, you know what? This person's fucked up in the head. They're a flaky human. They back out on commitments. They have no integrity. And you know what? It's okay. Life will take care of them. And that's not for us to worry about. So we part ways. We focus on the bigger fish. They focus on wherever they want to focus on, and it is what it is. But I can tell you this. If I tell you something, if I make you a promise, if I shake your hand, even if we're on Zoom and I make you a promise, it's done. Because for me, my word is law in the universe. Because one of the fastest ways to kill your confidence is to not keep your word. I cannot stand when people in my life, in some cases very close to me, who are like, hey, we should definitely get together for lunch next week. And then guess what happens? Nothing. No phone call, no email, nothing. I'm like, dude, you keep saying that over and over again. Here's what's happening to your trust. My trust in you, to zero, right? So if you can't keep your word with like, yeah, I'll call you for lunch next week, we're not getting much farther than that. So I think, again, for me, a lot of people are very mistrusting, and there's a lot of skepticism in this world, especially after COVID. And, you know, for me, it's just, it is what it is. Like, I'm just the person of my word. I have integrity. If I tell you something, it's just gonna be the way it is. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't see it the same way. And that's probably one of the biggest disappointments I have with humans, if I'm being very honest, is the absolute lack of integrity that people have. Not everyone, a lot of people. It's quite shocking, but not surprising. And it's also the same reason that there's always going to be 80-20, right? The reason 3% of the population owns all the wealth is not because they're greedy, whatever. I mean, you can have that belief if you want to. It's just that there's a very large percentage of the human race that doesn't have the basic wherewithal to have the skills to make money, to manage it, to have integrity, to keep their word, to be a positive contributor to the world. And that's a belief that I have. You might say, Yuri, you're full of shit. Cool, right? That's part of this, is me sharing my truth. What I believe is not empirically true. It's not objectively true, but it's a belief based on observations that I've made, right? I don't even know what number we're at, but let's just keep going. I have a few more here. Number 12, maybe 11. I always listen to my gut. It's never wrong. That has served me very, very well in business and in life. Listen to my gut. If you're an intuitive, we're all intuitive people, whether you're tuned in is a different story. I always love when people are like, hey, I'm a very intuitive person. I need a couple of days to really tune into my feelings. If you're an intuitive person, you know right away because you have that intuitive hit. And saying you're going to think about it for a couple of days is trying to be nice to get out of an uncomfortable situation, or the fact that you're afraid of something. Let's talk about that, right? If you're an intuitive person and you know it's a hell yes, you go. If you know it's a no, you don't. Really simple. Right? So if you're intuitive and you listen to your gut, listen to your gut. You don't need to take forever. You know it's right, but then your head gets in the way. Oh, what if this happens? What if this doesn't work out? What if? Always listen to your gut. It's worked very well for me. And I think if you look at a lot of very, very successful people in life, athletes, CEOs, whatever, they all say the same thing. A lot of them do, at least from my experience. Next, sunlight, movement, and coffee bring me a lot of joy. So I do whatever I can to get outside for a walk in the morning. That hits sunlight and movement. Coffee, I typically have 1 or 2 a day. I love it. It's my little moment of time where pressing that button on an espresso machine and seeing the coffee pour out is just, it's a nice little experience. And obviously I enjoy more elaborate coffees as well, cappuccinos and stuff like that. So next, I don't believe the customer is always right, but they should always be listened to because that's the only way to truly make your product or service better. I'm fully aware that I don't have all the answers. And the only way I can make things better is by listening to our client base. So for instance, our main coaching program, HBA, 7 years ago, started off as a live 2-day workshop. It's now, as of this recording, a 12-month coaching program with more support than our clients can probably handle. And the reason for that is because I listened to what people were going through, what they wanted, where they got stuck. And I'm also very involved in the coaching of our clients. I'm not like one of those armchair CEOs who just sits back and looks at spreadsheets. I coach our clients several times a week. I'm in the trenches with them. I want to know where they are. I want to know where their mindset's at. I want to know what they're struggling with because that has allowed us to continually improve our HBA program. I mean, I've probably re-recorded the trainings, like the videos inside of our curriculum 5 times, like completely shedding the skin and brand new, like probably 5 times in 7 years. And that seems like a lot of wasted time. But the reality is like when I see like that video is too long, I can make it shorter, or that person didn't understand it. How can I make this more clear? Or I'm seeing this happen on their enrollment calls. How can I improve the script so they understand this better? That it's an obsession of mine, right? It's this whole like, people are like, hey, what are you working on now? I'm like, I'm working on nothing. I'm working on the same boring shit every day. I'm looking at 1% improvements every single day. Every single day. That's it. There's no massive launches. We don't do any of the nonsense. It's the same boring fucking work every single day. And it's just about making small improvements. That's how we run Healthpreneur. All right, I think I got through pretty much all 14 there. So these have served me well. There's probably many others that I'll probably put together in another video. If you like this, let me know in the comments below which one of these non-negotiable rules. And again, I'll list them out in the description below. Which one of these makes the most sense for you? Are you like, I'm resonating with these ones? Again, I'm not here to debate. If you don't agree with something, I don't need to debate with you. If you want to start something in the comments, I'm not going to debate with you. Okay, I've talked about this in the past. I don't debate with anyone online. If you don't agree with something, cool. If you agree with it, cool. Either way, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this or listen to this. Hopefully that it's given you, if anything, hopefully it's giving you more and more permission to speak your truth. If there is ever a time in our lifetimes where people need to stand up and speak their truth, it's now. Everyone's trying to please everyone. No one knows what anyone stands for. No one knows what anyone's agenda is. It's a very confusing time to find the people we resonate with. Do yourself a favor, do the people that need your help a favor, and just be clear about who you are and what you stand for. Because yes, you will step on some toes, and yes, you will piss some people off. And it's not that you're trying to do that on purpose. It's just, it is who you are. And it's not to say that you can't grow and evolve, but do not dim your lights trying to please other people. Shine your light as bright as possible. Get the megaphone out and shout to the top of your lungs what you're all about, who you want to serve, and you will find and attract the right people, whether they're clients, customers, team members, people in your life, because like attracts like. But you got to be clear on who you are in order for that to happen in the first place. So if you've enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button. Let me know which of these rules resonates most with you in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Most people shouldn't be entrepreneurs. It's going to take longer than you think it's going to take. It's going to cost more money than you want. It's going to be more painful than you thought, and that's just the reality. So if you're still signing up for that, then let's keep going.